Hi, welcome to Hack a Week. We're still on vacation here in beautiful Maine. We just went past Bangor, Maine, and I am going to shoot a video while I'm here on the road as my camera goes crazy between sunlight and darkness. And I found this really cool magazine at an antique shop. It's an old Mechanix Illustrated from 1951, and now I'm going to show you some really cool things that were in that magazine that have a lot to do with where all of us hardware and electronics hackers started out. Let's take a look. So here we go. Mechanix Illustrated from 1951. This is in exceptionally good shape too. I paid $4 for this at an antique store, and it's got this hottie little brunette on the cover next to some custom old car. Got some hot rods in it and stuff, but let's open it up and take a look at what's inside. There's some really fun, entertaining things going on in here. Right in the beginning of the magazine are a bunch of ads for home correspondence courses. Those were really popular back in the day. Here's one for a mechanic, and let's see. I got a bunch of bookmarks in here. This radio and television thing here. There's like 4 of these in a row right in the beginning of the magazine. So also a pretty popular thing going on, and learn a trade at home, and you get to keep some cool equipment after the course was over and stuff like that. Electrical equipment servicing, yay! And some other fun ads in here too for things. Let's see, there's another one, television and radio electronics, and a lot of stuff about inventors, because this magazine was read by inventors. Look at this, $250,000 for this. For what, a paperclip? Well, maybe somebody got that. I don't know for sure. And yet another, television, radio, electronics at home. Yep. And you could pay for these with the GI Bill back then. A lot of stuff like that. Here's 2 ads in a row for inventors. If you have an idea, you can bring your idea to these patent attorneys that'll do the patent search for you, which is kind of wild because you can do that online now yourself in a few different websites. So let's jump ahead here. There's another one to be an artist, and you get to draw hottie babes like this one, I guess. That's what the draw was in this ad, pardon the pun. And here we have an article called The Most Important 30 Minutes of Your Life, which is the first 30 minutes after a atomic bomb explosion, like you're going to be around after that. And it's got this little thing here about how a railing in Hiroshima stopped the flash burn. So yeah, all you got to do is just hide behind a tree. You're good to go. No problem. You could survive a nuclear blast. Just look for a tree. And remember all that duck and cover stuff? This one I love. Helicopters for everybody. Look at that. There's mom and the kid waving to dad. Dad's on his way to work. See you later, honey, in his helicopter. And there's the mailman delivering mail to this lady on the roof. And then there's some other ones flying around. Sure, just jump in your helicopter. Everybody just flying around. I mean, what could possibly go wrong? And then this section's really cool because this is kind of a precursor to what magazines like Make magazine are now. Had all these cool articles and how-to stuff, and there's some pretty neat things in here. Here's a battery charger you can build for your car, and I love the drawings. The drawings were totally exquisite. I mean, they're just beautiful. They're drawn out and then they're airbrush enhanced to make them look really nice. I mean, look at that. Everything is laid out very clearly of how to wire it in like a 3D drawing. No schematic, just a good old 3D drawing. So I'm sure lots of people built that battery charger. And here's a little things on new tools for the shop. I like this one. Some of you probably have these wire strippers, the automatic wire strippers. Well, in 1951, they were a brand new item. And then here's a hacksaw with a spiral blade instead of the toothed blade. Here's a nifty little tool. I've actually seen some of these at yard sales and in a few old antique shops. Multiple tips on one screwdriver. That's kind of cool. What else have we got here? Oh, this is a good article. Fundamentals of alternating current. And it explains what alternating current is. And you can use a coil of wire and a compass, make a magnet so you can understand what induction's all about. And then there's some experiments to understand what AC current is all about. It gets pretty intense with the explanation there. That's pretty neat. Let's see, we'll go to the back. This one's cool. Here's one for the Dremel. You think a Dremel is a new thing? Nope, been around a long time. There's the old kit, everything in it. People have been using those Dremels for years. Well, this was really fun to look through. If you ever see these, oh yeah, this is neat. Lisa found this in the antique store. Kennedy Johnson. Not really a bumper sticker, just kind of a flyer. And this is from the 1960 election for Kennedy and Johnson. I forgot who they were running against then. 1960, I think I was 0. No, wait, I was 1. Yeah, that's right. Well, I was still 0, as I was born in 1959. I wasn't even 1 year old yet. That's a cool find. So anyway, if you find these anywhere, pick one up. They're lots of fun to flip through and read, and sometimes comical in the ads and the wording and what they thought the future was going to be. Sometimes they predicted it right, sometimes they didn't. This is neat. Here's a calendar watch for $8.95. What a bargain. Well, $8.95 in 1951 would probably buy you a week's worth of groceries. Binoculars. Cool. And there's like all these ads for free plans and stuff. And on the back, there's Studebaker's great new V8. And there's an article in this magazine too, how to get a whopping 165 horsepower out of your V8 by modifying the head on the thing. So there it is. Mechanix Illustrated from 1951. And it's from the road here from Hack Week. We're still on vacation. We'll be back in the shop next week with something from there. So until then, keep on hacking.